Hello everybody. Today we are going to see a video regarding pancreatitis involving both the acute as well as the chronic pancreatitis. First things first, let's start with an overview regarding the anatomy of pancreas and its association with different organs, structures like gallbladder, bile duct, duodenum, the pancreatic duct and the pancreas itself. And moving further is regarding the two important functions that the pancreas does to our body, that is the endocrine function as well as the exocrine function. Regarding the endocrine function, it produces hormones that regulate the blood sugars in our body as it has been shown on the screen, and exocrine, it produces enzyme that would help in digesting our food. Enzymes that involves amylase, protease and lipase, whereas the hormones that involves insulin, glucagon, somatostatin and pancreatic polypeptide. Okay, so this is about the anatomy and physiology, a very short or the brief you can say regarding the pancreatitis. Now let's see what is pancreatitis in general. Now pancreatitis, ITIS itself, it suggests that it is the process where there is inflammation of the pancreas. Now it is commonly, you can also call it that a process where there is autodigestion of pancreas. It has got two types. One is the acute variety and the other is the second is chronic type of pancreatitis. This is the picture presentation showing the normal pancreas, normal structure. The acute presentation with inflamed pancreas and where the gallstones are blocking the pancreatic duct. And this is again the chronic condition where there is calcification seen in the dilated pancreatic duct, gallbladder with stones and inflamed pancreas. Now let us see what is acute pancreatitis. So acute pancreatitis, it is an acute inflammatory process of pancreas, and this degree of inflammation, it varies. It varies from mild edema to severe hemorrhagic edema. Incidence, if we see, most commonly it is affecting middle-aged men and women, affecting male and female equally, that is 1:1 ratio is seen in cases of acute pancreatitis. If we talk about the etiology, the very common mnemonic that is used for remembering the etiological factors of pancreatitis, that is I get smashed. I also have uploaded a short regarding the same. So I, which stands for idiopathic, G for gallstone, which is the second commonest cause, ethanol, that is alcohol intake, most common cause for pancreatitis, T for trauma, S for steroids, M for mumps or malignancy, A for autoimmune, S for Scorpio sting, H for hypertriglyceridemia, E for ERCP, that is endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography, and D for drugs, that is certain medications. So these are the etiological factors. Do check it out in the short if you want to just go through one by one slowly. If we say about pathophysiology, now because of any of the etiological factors that we have discussed, what happens is this will cause the activation of pancreatic enzymes. Okay, because of this activation of pancreatic enzymes, it will cause the conversion of trypsinogen to trypsin. Here, the trypsinogen gets converted to trypsin. Now, this in turn will activate again proteases, and this proteases, it will cause autodigestion of pancreas. This autodigestion of pancreas will also cause the activation of other proteolytic enzymes such as elastase, which can cause hemorrhage, and phospholipase, which can trigger or which can cause fat necrosis. Clear? So pathological involvement, if we try to see, of acute pancreatitis, it ranges from edematous pancreatitis, which is self-limiting, to necrotizing pancreatitis. Here, this edematous pancreatitis is self-limiting. Okay, so this is about it. Clinical manifestations, if we see, person will present us with severe abdominal pain. Now, abdominal pain is the most predominant symptom which is seen in case of acute pancreatitis, and it is very severe. Second is pain would be located, that is in the upper quadrant and in the mid epigastric region. Severe, deep, piercing and continuous type of the pain, along with nausea, vomiting, hypotension, crackles that will be present over lungs, and ileus, that is with marked abdominal distension. Grey Turner spot, that is bluish frank discoloration, called as the Grey Turner spots. Again, I would repeat, Grey Turner spots important, that is bluish flank discoloration. Second is Cullen's sign. Cullen's sign, that is bluish periumbilical area, tachycardia and jaundice. Bowel sounds, that would be either decreased or it would be absent. Shock may arise, and that is because of the hemorrhage or toxemia from activated enzymes, and also as the person might be having hypotension. And hypovolemia that develops as a result of fluid shift. So that's all about the clinical manifestations. Now let's see what chronic pancreatitis has itself. So chronic pancreatitis, as the name suggests, being chronic, it would be a continuous, prolonged, inflammatory and fibrosing process of pancreatitis. The two main words here is inflammatory and the fibrosing process of pancreatitis, and gradually here the pancreas that is destroyed and it is replaced with tissues that is called as the fibrous tissues. Also, there will be strictures and calcifications seen if it has led to chronic pancreatitis. So etiology again more or less the same, that is chronic alcoholism, hereditary disorders, hypertriglyceridemia or even hypercalcemia, biliary tract disorders, gallstones, certain medications or viral infections, and idiopathic causes. Pathophysiology, if we see about the chronic pancreatitis, there are two major types of chronic pancreatitis. One that you can call it as the chronic obstructive type of pancreatitis, and the second is chronic calcifying type of pancreatitis. Here, the toxic effect of alcohol, it will cause the obstruction of the duct, and this obstruction of the duct that will be with the presence of protein precipitates. Clear? Now this precipitates would block the pancreatic duct and eventually it will calcify, which is followed with fibrosis and glandular atrophy. Also pseudocysts and abscesses. This develops commonly. Clinical manifestations, again the patient would be having upper abdominal pain, patient would be having weight loss and steatorrhea. Complications, if we see, there are certain complications in cases of chronic pancreatitis. The very first one, that is infection. If we talk about infection in acute pancreatitis, the pancreas is susceptible to bacteria that can cause infection. Second is pseudocyst. Pseudocyst, that is debris and fluid that collect in the pocket of the pancreas, and if this cyst pocket ruptures, infection and bleeding can result. Correct. Third is diabetes, and this diabetes is because of the damage to the insulin producing cells. Fourth, if we talk of, that is about pancreatic abscess. Fifth, if we talk of about, that is respiratory problems, and respiratory problems involves pleural effusion, atelectasis and pneumonia. Sixth, that is SIRS, that is systemic inflammatory response syndrome, and that is due to vasodilation, hypotension, capillary leakages of edema. Seventh is malnutrition. Malnutrition, that is due to lack of absorption. And eighth one, that is pulmonary emboli or even DIC, can develop as a result of chronic pancreatitis complications. Diagnostic findings, there are certain findings that are to be divided into two, that is the primary tests and the secondary test. Primary test and secondary tests, right? So primary test, it involves serum amylase, serum lipase and urinary amylase. What about serum amylase? It would be increased serum lipase also would be increased, and urinary amylase also is elevated. And if we talk about the secondary test involves tests such as blood glucose, that is hyperglycemia would be seen, serum calcium, again hypocalcemia, and last is serum triglyceride. Serum triglyceride will show hyperlipidemia. Okay, so next. Sorry, I think again the complications that we have already done. Right? Okay, it also involves diagnostic findings such as abdominal USG, EUS, abdomen CT scan, and ERCP, that is endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography. Right, and the last part for this section, that is management. What are the management procedures or the management steps, not procedures? Steps that are done is morphine. Second is nitroglycerin that is given for the relaxation of smooth muscles and for the relief of the pain. Antispasmodics are to be given. Carbonic anhydrase and inhibitor. Carbonic anhydrase inhibitor that will cause the reduction in volume and bicarbonate concentration of the pancreatic secretions. Second is antacids, H2 receptor antagonists, proton pump inhibitors, calcium if yes, sorry, calcium is given if hypocalcemia or tetany has occurred. Next is prophylactic broad spectrum antibiotics are to be given, and pancreatic enzyme replacement. These are the main drugs that are prescribed, although patient has to be advised certain diet patterns, and that diet patterns it involves low in fat, high in protein, and carbohydrates. So diet that is low in fat, high in protein and carbohydrates, small and frequent feeding. Also pancreatic supplementations that can be given with meals, correct malabsorption of fat soluble vitamins and vitamin B12. Surgical intervention, if we talk of about, so surgical intervention it can be required if the cases such as abscess, severe peritonitis and acute pseudocyst. Other procedures that involves ERCP plus sphincterectomy, that is to remove the duct obstruction of gallstone. Next is percutaneous drainage of pseudocyst, and these are the picture presentations of all surgical treatment. You can visualize it. The sphincterectomy being done here, that is about the surgical treatment, and the pseudocyst drainage. Here the pseudocyst collects are drained off into the bag, and also next is choledojejunostomy and pancreatojejunostomy, the picture presentation of both. So this is in all regarding acute as well as chronic pancreatitis, and hope this video proves useful to you. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more such content. Thank you.